need for tradespeople now. We have the NGA project underway. We have the soccer stadium underway. We have a lot of construction underway. Being a plumber or pipe fitter is a really good career, and so they're continuing to take applicants into this program. But today was a graduation for 14 people who all got their job assignments. They all have jobs. They are starting with their companies on Monday morning in the pre-apprenticeship program, and then that'll last for a year, and then they'll go into the full apprenticeship program, and that is a 5-year training program for plumbers and pipe fitters. So that's where we were this afternoon, and so had to delay Live with Lyda for a little bit. All right, Jacob, do we have any questions?
Couple of questions in the right direction of cases in the city. Why are bars and restaurants still made to close a little bit early? That is from Cody and a couple of other people.
So, as you know, bars and restaurants need to close at 11 p.m. Illinois also has, St. Clair County also has bars and restaurants closing at 11 p.m. St. Louis County has bars closing at 10 p.m. Missouri remains a red state, and some of the counties around us continue to be in the red zone. Others, like we are still in the yellow zone. So it is just, I heard it described on the radio this morning that we are at a plateau, but we're at a plateau still going very fast. Actually, the person said going 100 miles an hour. We'd rather be at a plateau going 25 miles an hour. And so we just have not been able to see a significant drop in either the number of cases or hospitalizations. The CDC, the White House Coronavirus Task Force, actually, the Coronavirus Task Force a couple of weeks ago recommended that Missouri close bars, period. Now, we're not headed in that direction. So that's why bars are still closing at 11 p.m.
Jill has a question about roads that are still closed or barricaded in places like Forest Park and other major parks, and why that is.
A couple of reasons, Jill. Of course, we know that people need to be out and about and walking. We're trying to make it easier for people to walk. There's a few roads closed in Forest Park. There are a few roads closed in our other major parks, and it's really to give way for pedestrians and bicycle riders. And there are a lot of people that are, I will tell you, that are really enjoying having some of those roads closed and being able to avoid cars. So I think, we'll probably see that for a while, because we are trying to make more room for walkers and bikers and folks to enjoy the outdoors while still being socially distanced.
Bob and a couple of other folks, Mayor, have asked about the status of playgrounds. St. Louis County's playgrounds are opening next week. Do you have a status update for the cities?
Bob, I do. Our playground order says, and the CDC says, playgrounds should be closed. We've had our Parks Department a large part of the summer out there taping off playgrounds, putting up signs, trying to inform people that we don't recommend that kids play on playgrounds. Dr. Eccles does not recommend that kids play on playgrounds. Nevertheless, we know that it's happening, because almost every day the tape is down from around the playgrounds. And so at this point, what we're saying, we have 109 parks in the city of St. Louis, almost 75 playgrounds. We know we can't be there to keep kids off of the playground equipment. So we're saying to parents, if you make the choice to let your kids play on the playgrounds, please consider wiping it down. Make sure your kids wash their hands. We don't think it's the best activity, but we know that people are playing on playgrounds and we can't really prevent it.
We have a question, Mayor, about the ribbon cutting for City Hope that you attended a couple of weeks or days ago.
It was a week ago today.
How is City Hope helping the city with the unhoused population, and what is the status on sheltering folks during COVID-19?
That's a broad question. So to City Hope. City Hope is a subcontractor with the city on any number of programs. And starting the 1st of October, so just in about 10 days, I guess, City Hope will be operating Biddle House, which is the city's shelter for men at on 14th and Biddle, roughly. And so they will be operating Biddle House for us under contract with us. They are also assisting us with emergency shelter operations in a number of places. So they are a major contractor with the city in order to help operate shelters for individuals. And Pastor Mike, we really appreciate him and his whole team, who are very compassionate, very good at this, really a good contractor for us, because the city doesn't operate these facilities personally ourselves with our own employees. We subcontract this out to a number of people. So we have many locations that we are housing people that are unhoused, and we are continually trying to get people who are on the street to go into shelter. Not everyone will do that, but we continue to outreach to those individuals for them to go into shelter.
On a similar question from Maxie today, Mayor, what is the city doing about folks who are particularly facing housing instability because of COVID-19 and are at risk of becoming unhoused during this pandemic?
Well, Maxie, we are outreaching, as I said just previously, we are outreaching to those people. We are providing various opportunities for emergency housing. We are trying to get people to move from emergency housing into transitional housing. There was another part of that question. Was it, what are we doing? And one of the biggest things is we are trying to prevent people from losing their housing. So as you know, we have $7.4 million right now in rental and mortgage assistance. And, you know, there's a whole spectrum of care for people. The beginning spectrum is to keep people from becoming homeless. So keep them from becoming homeless. If they are homeless, working with them to get them into shelters. If they're in shelters, working with them to help them get jobs, to help them get support, to help them get into their own apartment.
We have a question from State Senator Jamila Nasheed, who's watching.
Hey, Senator, how are you?
Wanting to know, can the flu, do you know, is it possible to escalate into COVID, or are these two separate viruses that we're just worried about at the same time?
Good question, Senator. These are two separate viruses that will be coexisting with each other. They will both be there. They have some similar symptoms because they're both respiratory. And, you know, part of the reason we really need for people to get the flu shot is that if you have symptoms, I mean, the medical professionals will have to determine, do you have the flu? Do you have COVID? So there's tests for both. You want to be able to get the flu shot to prevent that. The other thing is the continual wearing of masks will help prevent the spread of the flu as well as the spread of COVID, and hand washing and socially distancing. So two separate things.
A few questions from Mayor related to parks and COVID. Is tennis allowed? Do
Yes.
I have to wear a mask in the gym? And how do I report violations of COVID-19 orders?
3 questions, Mary. Yes, tennis is allowed. 2, do you have to wear a mask in the gym? Except when you are actually, say, on the treadmill or on a piece of equipment. You definitely need to wear it into the gym when you're walking around, that sort of thing. We know that people usually can't wear it while they're doing an activity that requires a lot of exertion. What's the third part of the question?
How do I report COVID violations?
Oh, how do you report COVID violations? 622-4800 is the phone number that you can call for the Citizen Service Bureau. You can also tweet at the Citizen Service Bureau, STLCSB, at STLCSB. You can also go online, you can upload pictures, you can upload videos. It's important to have the address and to give as much information as possible, whether you're reporting it online, on Twitter, or on the telephone so that someone can follow up.
Deborah's question, Mayor, and I think we talked about this on Wednesday. Has the city issued any guidance, orders, or rules about Halloween? Meaning, can they have a trunk or treat event?
Well, we have not issued any orders about it. It's something that we have talked about. If you want to have an event, I would suggest that you talk with the health department about what you're going to do at that event to prevent the spread of COVID. A typical trunk or treat, I mean, there may be ways that you can do that with masking, with spacing things out. But I think that's something, if it's an event of any size, you really should talk to the health department about that. Because we don't want the kids to get COVID, and we don't want the folks handing out the candy to get COVID either.
Okay, a few last questions, Mayor, while we still where their staff is working and how they're going along in the hiring process.
Thank you for that question. We just had a meeting, was it yesterday or the day before,
Yesterday.
with the Cure Violence folks out of Chicago, with Employment Connections, who's running 2 sites here, and with the Urban League, who's running a 3rd site here. So the first site is in the Hamilton Heights neighborhood. It's at, it's on Natural Bridge and I want to say Belt, but that might not be the cross street there. And they've been up and running since about the 1st of June. The second site is in Dutchtown, and they have a location on Merrimack, and they are hiring. They've hired some folks, but they haven't hired everybody. The 3rd site is in Walnut Park. That's being run by the Urban League, and they have a site Dutchtown, and they have a location on Merrimack, and they are hiring. They've hired some folks, but they haven't hired everybody. The 3rd site is in Walnut Park. That's being run by the Urban League, and they have a site